The Constitution says power is inherent in the people, and the government is instituted for our safety, happiness, and well-being. So that establishes powers in us. They work for us.
Yeah.
When we have a protest against government policy or government officials, we remonstrate. We file a petition of remonstrance with our General Assembly. They have questions before them now. They have to tell me yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And for the reforms that I want judges and attorneys to take drug tests. And I think without exception, every member of the House and the Senate that I have met with agrees that's a good idea.
It's a wonderful idea.
We just had in Tennessee, it just broke on News 4 that there's a case, Casey Moreland. He's a dirty, crooked judge. He got caught on camera from the FBI bribing a police officer to plant drugs on a witness against him. Paid a cop $6,000. FBI got it on tape, so they got him for witness tampering, and he's actually in prison right now.
Good. That's where he deserves to be.
But Moreland was talking to the FBI, and he's telling them about judges and attorneys going down to Costa Rica and buying prostitutes and smoking marijuana. And I'm sure that's not all they were doing. These same judges, they set up the halfway house for prostitutes. Now, I don't think that is altruistic behavior, that these judges set up a halfway house for prostitutes when they're down in Costa Rica buying prostitutes and smoking marijuana. It's more than likely human trafficking is my guess. But we need to find a way. Obviously, if you go to... Now, this is common sense. If anything was working in this country, providing oversight of judges and attorneys, there wouldn't be misconduct.
Right.
If there were anything working, if law enforcement was doing their job, if the media would tell the story, if these judicial oversights would do their job, if the federal courts would do their job, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
So the fact that it's happening is prima facie evidence of a clear breakdown in every oversight mechanism. And so remonstrance is our last hope.
Yeah, and what you're saying, so many people that I've talked with that have said, you know, we don't have any hope. But we can't, everything we try, we get stonewalled, we get shut down, people dismiss us as if we're lunatics or crazies or something like that. We have no course of redress.
I'm one man.
Yeah. I
am one man, and I have presented a petition of remonstrance to the General Assembly, and they are sitting down and talking with me. And my last conversation with them is they're going to take every redress. I want drug tests for judges and attorneys. Drug tests for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. They're writing a bill for me. So I said, here's what I want. So now they're gonna write it up, and I get final edit on the bill. That's how you get it done, people. Is you remonstrate into our legislature. And then they have to answer the question. Now, it will still go through the same bill process. And you know, this hasn't been done. A remonstrance hasn't been filed in Tennessee since 1850. 170 years since anybody has done this. But this is how we get it done. This is how we heal our nation of this corruption, is by coming together and saying no more. You know, and we're going to do this with this. Well, I'm going to accomplish this with judicial reform here in Tennessee. Every state is going to have to follow what happens here in Tennessee.
Right. Well, trust me, there will be, I can guarantee there will now be people watching in Texas. I'm very interested in watching what goes on.
Remonstrances are going out. I do a live stream show on Kirk's Law Corner with my colleagues Chris Howlett and Kirk Pendergrass. We're on Wednesdays and Friday nights for 2 hours every night. We're teaching people how to do this. And we've got remonstrances being filed in Ohio, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, going into Pennsylvania. Another guy did a great job on a remonstrance into the state of Virginia. We're going into all 50 states. And if these 50 states are unwilling to do the right thing, then we're going to come together as a nation. And we're going to take all of these 50 remonstrances, and then we're going to go to the United States Congress and the Department of Justice and to the President of the United States. And we're going to say, we petitioned our Congresses, and they will do nothing. Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution says that a Republican form of government is guaranteed to every state. Now, people out there need to understand a Republican government, we're not talking party.
Right.
We're not talking Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
Because at that time, when it was 1791, I think, when they put in the first few articles, not sure on the exact dates, but late 1700s, early 1800s, they started amending the Constitution, and in Article 4, every state is guaranteed a Republican form of government. So what does that mean? You hear this ridiculous statement over and over and over in the media, we are a democracy. We are not a democracy, we are a republic. And the difference is a democracy is rule of the many. The many decide how things are going to be. A republic is rule of law. And the law is our federal and state constitutions. That is the supreme law of the land. Everything has to be in compliance and not repugnant to our federal and state constitutions. In the words of Abraham Lincoln, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is a republic. We are absolutely not a democracy. So we will remonstrate all 50 states to all the powers of the federal government and demand that our states be returned to their Republican character. I don't know that it's going to be necessary because Tennessee is listening to one man. Now you think about that. If one man can go to the Tennessee General Assembly and demand reforms, and they're doing it, imagine what would happen if tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of us came together in remonstrance to our state and federal legislatures. Imagine the power we would have. And I believe that this is how we will heal our nation. You know, this isn't a mechanism for abortion or for family rights. This is a mechanism for fundamental rights of due process, equal protection, freedom of speech, right to bear arms. When those rights are being infringed upon, that is when we can legitimately remonstrate to our legislatures, which is what I've done with this. We no longer have an enforceable right of due process. We no longer have an enforceable right of equal protection of the laws because many of us are victims of perjury. Perjury is suborned by many attorneys. Perjury is ignored by the courts. Why do they like perjury? Well, if you've got a litigant that goes in there and makes false statements, and of course these judges always will rely on unsupported false allegations as basis for decision.
Right.
And the reason they do that is because they know that the party who's being perjured against is going to fight for
back.
Justice like hell.
Yeah.
And so the purpose of, and why they like perjury in our courtrooms today is because it creates vexatious litigation. Is to keep things going. That is what our courts are about today.
Yeah.
Is how much money, how many billable hours can we create?
Yeah.
That's what our courts are about today. They are not about dispensing justice anymore. And so my fight through remonstrance is to restore justice, to restore due process,
Right.
to restore accountability to our judiciary. And I think thus far the Tennessee General Assembly agrees with me. Imagine one man can do that. Imagine when there are hundreds of thousands of us. Imagine when there are millions of us going in there. Now, this is a starting point, due process. But we can use this mechanism to demand term limits for congressmen. And I think everybody in this country agrees there should be term limits for our U.S. representatives and U.S. senators. Because we've got some people that have been in there an awfully long time.
Right.
And they know the special interests and the lobbyists and how to collect money, and they live like millionaires, not because of their senatorial or representative salaries, but because of I mean, it's obvious, it's because of kickbacks. If we start doing this piece by piece, we can heal this nation of so many problems, like term limits, like accountability of judges, like restoring justice back to our courts. We can accomplish those things if we do it together. I believe this in my heart. I know it as an American, and that we can make this happen.